Hi there and welcome. This isn't just about learning English. It's about feeling the words, living the story. Today's story is not about lights and fame. It's about a man with a quiet strength, a man who stayed true to himself when the world was watching. This is the story of Christopher Nolan, not just a director, but the dreamer, the thinker, the man of deep belief. His journey teaches us more than success. It teaches us courage, purpose, and faith. So get comfortable. Let your heart listen. Let the word speak to you. Let's begin. In the bustling city of London, a young boy named Christopher Nolan once sat beside a Super 8 camera, gifted by his father. He wasn't much older than 7 when he began crafting miniature epics using his toys. Unlike other children, Christopher didn't just play, he directed. He saw stories in silence, in shadows, in things others ignored. While his classmates drew cartoons, Nolan stitched together tiny narratives of war and wonder with Lego bricks and film reels. As he grew up, Nolan became obsessed with duality, the space between truth and illusion, memory and perception. He was a quiet boy, reflective and bookish, but behind his thoughtful eyes burned a storm. He devoured books on physics, philosophy, and storytelling. Film wasn't just a passion, it was a calling. Christopher Edward Nolan was born on July 30th, 1970, in Westminster, London. His father, Brendan James Nolan, was a British advertising executive of Irish descent who worked as a creative director. His mother, Christina Jensen, was an American flight attendant from Evanston, Illinois. She would later work as a teacher of English. He has an elder brother, Matthew, and a younger brother, Jonathan, also a filmmaker. The 3 brothers were raised Catholic in Highgate and would spend their summers in Evanston. Nolan also spent time living in Chicago during his youth, and he holds both UK and US citizenship. At University College London, while studying English literature, Nolan walked a dual path. He was a student by day and an aspiring filmmaker by night. What no one knew was that every cent he could spare went toward building his own short films. He carried cameras across the city, filming in the underground, in parking garages, in abandoned rooms. While others partied, he plotted. He'd stay up all night editing on old machines, teaching himself what no classroom could offer. One of these short films, Doodlebug, was a strange 3-minute psychological loop. It was odd, unsettling, but it was Nolan in pure form, blending thought, tension, and perception. No producer called, no door opened, but Christopher kept walking forward, silently building a vision that even the world didn't understand yet. Christopher Nolan's first feature film, Following, was shot on weekends over a year. He used friends as actors. He had no budget, no trailers, no lights. Just a story and a mission. He directed with military precision, rehearsals first, filming second. The film explored obsession, identity, and deception. When it finally premiered at festivals, people paid attention, not because of who he was, but because of what he had done. A young man had made a professional feature on scraps and passion. Hollywood didn't come knocking yet, but the echoes had begun. Everything changed with Memento, based on a story by his brother Jonathan. It told the tale of a man with no short-term memory, hunting his wife's killer. Told in reverse, it confused studios, baffled producers, and mesmerized audiences. Christopher fought to get it made. He faced rejection after rejection. Some laughed at the script. Others said no one would watch such a nonlinear maze. But Nolan believed in it. He believed in storytelling that respected the intelligence of the audience. When Memento finally released, it became a sensation. Critics hailed it as revolutionary. Audiences watched it twice, thrice. Nolan had arrived, not with explosions, but with elegance. The world knew his name now. Warner Brothers approached him with Batman, an aging franchise with faded glory. Many said no director could revive it. Christopher said yes, but on one condition: he would do his way. He built Gotham not as fantasy, but as a city that could exist. He gave Bruce Wayne pain, depth, purpose. He cast Christian Bale, a choice some questioned. He hired Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard to compose a dual score. Batman Begins wasn't just a film. It was a resurrection. Nolan had redefined superhero cinema, but he didn't stop. With The Dark Knight, Nolan climbed a mountain of cinema. Heath Ledger as the Joker was controversial at first. People doubted it, but Nolan trusted his vision. Ledger's performance, Nolan's direction, and the film's moral complexity changed cinema forever. It wasn't a superhero movie. It was a psychological opera. It broke box office records, earned Oscars, and became a cultural landmark. Nolan was now a legend, but legends carry weight, and weight can pull down even the strongest shoulders. After the success of Batman, Nolan didn't rest. He had a story about dreams, grief, and reality. Inception was his most ambitious film yet. The studios hesitated. The script was dense, the budget huge, and the concepts were real. But Nolan convinced them. He had earned their trust. Inception took years to write. It was deeply personal, a meditation on letting go, on the pain of memory. He shot across continents, engineered rotating hallways, and crafted emotional truth inside science fiction. The film became another masterpiece. Audiences debated the ending. Did the top fall? Did Cobb wake up? But the answer didn't matter. Nolan had given them something rarer than clarity. Wonder. Not every filmmaker dares to tell war stories without dialogue or a central hero. But Nolan did. With Dunkirk, he created an experience, not a narrative. Told from land, sea, and air, the film was about survival, not of soldiers alone, but a nation's spirit. It was minimalist, cold, brutal. It confused some. It moved many. It won Oscars. But it also reminded Nolan of the price of scale. The bigger the vision, the deeper the solitude. In 2020, Nolan released Tenet, a time inversion thriller. It was meant to reopen cinemas after COVID-19. Nolan pushed for a theatrical release. Some called it brave. Others called it selfish. The film divided audiences. Many found it confusing, cold, and emotionless. Critics didn't cheer like they once had. The box office was limited by the pandemic. For the first time, the world whispered, "Has Nolan lost touch?" But Nolan stood by his film. He said it was an experiment in structure, a challenge. Not every story should be easy. Behind every film, every frame, there was a secret not many knew. Nolan never used a smartphone. He avoided email. He wrote with pens. He valued quiet, stillness, human conversation. While others drowned in digital chaos, he preserved an inner world. That world, filled with riddles, dreams, and pain, became his sanctuary. And from that sanctuary, he gave us films that change how we see time, identity, fear, and faith. In 2023, Nolan returned with Oppenheimer, a story of brilliance and burden, of a man who created the atom bomb and lived in its shadow. Nolan shot the film with IMAX, on real sets, without CGI for the explosion. The film wasn't just about science. It was about guilt, about consequences, about what it means to play God. The film won Oscars. But more than that, it reminded the world that Nolan wasn't done. He never would be. Christopher Nolan's story isn't just about movies. It's about the boy who made shadows dance, the man who rewrote time, the artist who dared to trust the audience. He failed. He rose. He was doubted. He was praised. But he never stopped walking the path he had carved alone, because Nolan didn't just direct films. He directed us into believing that cinema could still be profound. And maybe, just maybe, that the dream was never over. And so, Christopher Nolan stands not merely as a director, but as a master of time, memory, and meaning. He is a rare storyteller who never chased trends. He created them. In an age of noise, he whispered. In a world of shortcuts, he chose a long road. His journey, marked by rejection, risk, reinvention, proves that greatness doesn't come from pleasing the crowd, but from trusting the vision no one else can see. He showed us that the mind can be a maze, that dreams can be as real as memories, and that sometimes the greatest stories are the ones we dare to tell differently. And though critics may rise and fall, and the industry may shift, one truth remains. Christopher Nolan didn't just make films. He changed what we believe films can be. And in doing so, he became timeless. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and share.